Good evening and welcome back to Football Manager 2024. We're back with a slightly different episode here today, guys. A slightly different episode. We're not going to be playing any games in today's episode. So if that means you're not really interested in it, I perfectly understand that. And you may depart and will have no hard feelings whatsoever. There'll be no games in today's episode because today's episode is more about talking about the squad, talking about my approach to this game, and talking about a lot of the changes I'm planning on bringing to this series in this upcoming season. So the first big change will be how I go about the individual matches. So over the last couple of seasons, more or less since the start of the series, which is a long time ago now, I have only ever really been playing the matches on super speedy highlights. Key highlights, get through the games, get through the seasons, make progress like that. And it's worked sometimes, we've been promoted sometimes, and it's not worked other times. A great example of it not working, the end of the last season. Not a great end to last season. We went on a 6-game losing streak, which we are definitely going to try and fight a little bit better here today. This season upcoming. Not today, of course. No games today. But yeah, so that's my approach. That was my approach. What we're going to do now, instead, we're going to play 2 games every episode of this upcoming season, which will actually mean that we know exactly ahead of time we'll have 16 episodes in this upcoming season 10, plus this current episode, which is a 0, to make 17 for the entire season. 2 games per episode, no matter when the gaps are between them, no matter what, and we're going to be playing them on either extended or comprehensive highlights, depending on how the game is going. So if we start on extended, and the game is going well, and we'll keep it on extended. And we'll get through the game at a slightly faster rate. If it's not going well, if there's changes to be made and we think we need to edit things, we'll go on to comprehensive, we'll study the game a little bit more, and we'll try and make those changes to correct things and hopefully get the result we are after. This will be putting a bit more of a focus on individual games rather than a tactic trying to work it throughout a season as a whole. So there we go. That's the first thing. The second thing is the tactics. A little segue there for you. So in the previous seasons, again, more or less from the start to now, I've been learning a lot about this game, an absolute truckload of information, but I don't think I've used it very well. I don't think I've used the information and the stuff that I have learned. I don't think I've used it very well. So this season, this upcoming season, I've developed plan A, plan B, plan C. And they are actually very similar plans. They are a single tactic that will just evolve as a game goes on, or potentially devolve, back to balanced as a game goes on. We're going to start most games on balanced, and then potentially drop to cautious if we need to. But for the most part, we will just start on balanced and go from there. If the game is going well, we're winning possession, we're creating lots of chances, we will move to positive. Plan B, where we're one of them. Basically, it's quite simple. The midfielder moves up into a cam position. Other changes include the wingers, which are on support. When they go to the attacking, they move on to attack. When we're on the balanced, they're on support again. On positive, they're also on support. But now you've got an advanced playmaker in between them, trying to connect things. And of course, you've got your striker, who's basically always on the same, just always attacking. Behind that, in the middle, you've got 2 DMs, and I will go through individual players in a little bit as well. Like I say, this episode, no games, just all about talking about the squad and showing you what I've done in the off-season. In the midfield, you've got a midfield trio here. You've got an anchor in Alex Tucky, who is still just absolutely the best player for this position, in my opinion. We've got good backups, which I will get to, but Alex Tucky is the best player, and the reason he is the best player is his tackling stat, his positioning stat, his determination and anticipation are all at 10s, and his strength is at 11. Very, very good for us, for our level, him basically breaking up play, making good tackles, tackling harder, marking tighter, and of course, because his passing isn't as great, it's only an 8, I've told him to make shorter passes in the attempt that we will keep the ball when he has it. On the left-hand side next to him is Olafsson, who is playing as a ball-winning midfielder in this starting tactic. As he progresses in the game, he moves to a segundo volante with a little bit more go forward, I should say. And then if we go onto the attack, he moves into a deep line playmaker to really support the attack. So we start with defend, support, and then attack in the middle. Then we go defend, support, attack, but the midfielder's moved up. And then on attack, we've got defend, support, attack, and again, the midfield has moved up. So you can see there is thinking behind my plans. There is thought. I'm not just throwing stuff at the wall anymore. I've had a thought. I've had a bit of time to look at the friendlies that I've played and see what's worked and what hasn't. Hopefully this will work. We will see. We will have to see. Now at the back, we have more or less got a completely new back line. I will show you all of those players in a second. But the big change is that the fullbacks now are on the beginning of the game. At the beginning of the game, they are just on automatic. We've got our central defenders still on defend, and I will go through individual players, like I say, in a little bit. But the fullbacks are now on automatic. So they will join the attack when I want them to. If I'm on the balanced and I choose to go positive, they will start joining the attack a little bit more. If I move to positive, where the mentality has changed and the cam has moved in, then again, they will move on to the positive and they will join the attack. If we go attacking, again, we're on the mentality changes here and they will move up. Another part of the tactic is that the fullbacks will be far more versatile. They'll be defending when I need them to. If we go onto cautious, then of course they will sit onto cautious. They might sit onto defend/support depending on the situation, but they will be there to kind of defend a little bit stronger. Now, I would want Jimmy Maloney to be the main man in there. He is a youngster. He's been with us for a couple of seasons since he started. He's made 2 appearances on his debut season. Didn't appear for us last season because we moved him back to the under-18s. And now I think it's time for him to come back into the side. And at the moment, Purcell is in that left back spot because Brathwaite is our defender that covers the entire back line. So yeah. But yeah, that's the idea behind the fullbacks. Of course, the goalies are the goalies. We've actually got Johansson, who we've stolen from Bermondsey. Of course, who we were playing against last season. He was a pretty good goalie for them. He's on the bench for us at the minute, just behind Malendine. But again, I will talk about the individual players in a little bit. And we've also got Hopkins as a goalie as well. This is actually a player we brought in, mostly because of his outrageous reflexes stat. His other stats aren't quite as strong, but he's only a 21-year-old, so maybe those stats will improve over time. You can see some of them are going down, some of them are going up. It's a bit here or there. He hasn't really played for me. But that is the goalies at the minute. Malendine is still the main man with good reflexes, good determination and positioning, great anticipation, and really good agility as well. Anticipation could be better. 6 isn't the best, but that's how it is for the minute. Now, next thing I want to say is that on all of these mindsets, you can see this in possession thing is not changing. The instructions there are not changing. We are playing narrow. Now, the idea behind that is, although I do have pacey players, such as Abbott, who's relatively pacey, well, actually, he's not. 7's not bad, but he's got the acceleration that does move him away from players. On the bench, we do have some very pacey players. 13 and 13 for Cameron Thompson. Ben Scott, 11 and 12. And then even to an extent, I think Embleton's not that bad either. 14 and 9. So the acceleration is really important. It's going to move them away from players. And then, of course, up top, Hennessy's not the quickest, but there are other players who can slot into that position. So we're playing narrow to start. And the reason we're playing narrow is that I want my players to have more options to pass to, which hopefully means that the wingers are going to come in a little bit more and give themselves availability to these midfielders. I'm hoping that's what will happen. If it doesn't work as we move into the first couple of games, then I'll probably take that off and we'll go from narrow. We'll maybe go fairly narrow. We may just go standard. But for now, we're on narrow. That's the idea. In transition, that is going to depend on every game we play. It's going to change depending on how the game is going. I'm not going to preset anything on that. It's going to change per game. Out of possession, we do have presets. So if I show you the individual presets, you've got low block on the balanced one where we start really contained, trying to keep the ball, well, trying to stop, not concede, basically. That's the first idea. We stop the crosses, we prevent the short, and we're in a good block. Only thing that's changed there is that we're in a mid block. Instead, we've moved up just a little bit higher up the pitch. Now, there is a chance, of course, that I will move this as the game goes on. It will be very important to do so. And on the attacking one, it's all the way up. It's just almost full send, sorry. High press, try and win the ball back in attacking positions and create chaos. Just force them to make mistakes. So that is the tactics that I've decided to go with. Next up, I will show you what I've never been using, mostly because it scares me, but no longer. We're going to be using the data hub every single game. We're going to look at what the opposition play. We're going to try and counter it. We're going to try and do what we can to beat them at whatever game they bring to the table. For example, our first game is against London Samurai. They like to play wing play and get the ball into the box. Therefore, we need to make sure that our centre backs have good jumping reach. And how do we do that? How do we check that? We will go to centre backs here, line up the jumping reach. And we've actually got a couple of players who have good jumping reach that are on trial right now. You can see our 3 best jumping reach players are in there, are in that lineup for that exact reason. Purcell is in there as well, and they've all got good tackling stats, good composure stats, good concentration, and good anticipation, and they're all relatively strong as well. So you can see what I've done with the players here is kind of try and bring in players that are going to be useful for us. Now also, because they are playing wing play, that means that for the most part, they're going to get their players and their wing backs high up the pitch. So there is the option of changing this up, going into standard, playing even a little bit wider and letting the wingers move into that space. We will think about it when we get to that London Samurai game. Next up, the under-18s. The under-18s I've actually taken full control of for one game so far. I'll show you that game. Where is it? There it is. Fixtures for them. That game was this 4-1, where I watched the game on comprehensive. The first half, we were, I think, 1-0. No, 1-0 up. We were 1-0 up in the first half. We played quite well. Weren't really doing much with the ball. And then what I decided to do was basically implement the attacking mindset. For the second half, I said, we're 1-0 up. We're not doing great on possession, but we are doing quite well. I threw numbers forward. I put the wingers on attack. I put Williams in there as an advanced playmaker. Mallinson was a deep line playmaker, and Tello was behind him just as a DM. And Peters ended up scoring 3 goals. They get 1 back. Tello gets that yellow card for tackling. You know, hard tackling. That's what we want from our DM. And then we actually score another one at the very end, where Carson plays it up to Wright, and then Wright put it in the back of the net. We won that game 4-1. So I am going to have a little bit more of a focus on the under-18s this year as well. I might not play every game on camera, but there will be times where I do add an under-18s game in there if it's an important game, for example. I really would like to see the under-18s do quite well. It would be nice to see them do well in the league because for the most part, I've just let them do their thing and just see what happens with it. This season, we're going to change that a little bit. We've only played 2 games. They got a win. The first game they lost, I actually didn't have any control over that. I wanted to go back and take control of it, but unfortunately, I wasn't able to. The saves they didn't add up, basically. So you can see they lost that first game quite badly, and Peter Peters actually scored again. Peter Peters is a really good player. He's a really, really good player. He's got, actually, the thing about him is that he's got very good stats for right back. But, like, for some reason, despite his pace being quite low, he's got decent jumping reach, decent composure, okay anticipation, good aggression, and work rate, really, really good. Teamwork, really, really good. It's and good stamina as well. So it's something that I've kind of noticed about him is that he's actually not the worst player to throw at the back. Sometimes, you know, it says he can play in the midfield as well, but he's not really got the passing stat for that. So for the most part, he is just our striker. But there's always thoughts in the back of my head about potentially moving some of the under-18s around, trying them in new positions, and maybe unlocking something that, you know, you didn't expect. But yeah, that's the under-18s showed up for you. They've got a game against Bradford, Park Avenue under-18s, immediately after the London Samurai game that we will play in episode 1. I don't know if I'll play that on camera. In fact, what I might do is kind of record the games and have them as a little sub-series maybe, because I'm going to play them anyway. I don't know. It's an idea. I'm not quite sure, but it's an idea. Now, let's look at the squad. Looking at the squad and the changes we have made. So we're going to start with goalkeepers, and we're going to filter it to just goalkeepers. So I've got 3 goalkeepers in my my starting lineup. This season, I don't want to fall into the trap of having too many players. It's something that's happened in the last couple of seasons, even this kind of squad that I've got going on here, if you discount all of these trialists that I'm just kind of like still continuing to see whether or not they will come in or not, we've got 25 players. That's actually a good number. That's a good number. With all the trialists, you're kind of looking at 30, 33, 35, however you look at it. But we've got 25 players, which is a perfectly reasonable number to have on your squad. But that's something I just want to let you know I am thinking about. I don't want to have too many players in this squad. Now, Malandine is the starting goalkeeper at the minute. Hopkins probably should be in there, but Hopkins' agility kind of lets him down a little bit. So they will swap out in and out. We'll kind of give them a few chances. I don't want to just be like, okay, this is my starting team and we don't change it at all and yada yada. Like, that would be a little bit silly in my opinion. And we're going to try them out. The only problem is the one-on-ones as well. I mean, look at those one-on-ones. You can see Johansson has really good stats. The one-on-ones isn't great. And then Malandine, again, pretty good stats, but the decisions aren't great. And what I would absolutely love, of course, is if Hopkins and Wilmer Johansson, their stats were just merged. Could you imagine? You'd have 14, 7, 11, 8, 11, 7, and 9. You'd have really, really good stats mixed together. But it's obviously, that's not really how it works. So when we come to training, which is actually what we're going to do, we're going to do that on camera. We're going to go through the training. We may as well do it now, in fact. We're going to try and focus on the individual trainings for each of the players. So Malandine, you need to focus on your one-on-ones. So I'm thinking reactions is the one that's going to do that. You look at the training. Reactions does reflexes, concentration, anticipation. So what will actually do the one-on-ones for him? Tactical, technique, sweeping. Can't really get it, can you? Can't really get the one-on-ones to be trained up. I mean, I'd love to know how. Yeah, see, I can't actually see how to get him trained up on the one-on-ones. Go to his training page. Got him on reactions at the moment. Take a look. Free taking, technique, corner taking, attributes, quickness, agility and balance. No strength, endurance. No. Yeah, you see, it's a little bit of an odd one, isn't it? I can't actually train his specific one-on-ones, which is a little bit of an annoying one, to be honest. What's next for him to train then? If I can't train the one-on-ones, aerial and decisions. Interesting. Okay. Can we do that? Can we do that? That would be tactical. Oh no, sorry. Sweeping is the one-on-ones. Oh my word, I'm absolutely blind. There we go. That's what we're going to train. We're going to train the one-on-ones because that stat is a little bit low for my liking. Decisions I will train as well afterwards, but this is the stuff. This is the deep dive stuff that I should have been doing from day one. But I just, I was playing the game, having fun, seeing what's going on. And now I've reached a point where the promotions have obviously stopped. Getting more difficult, and we've got to put more energy and focus into this save. Now, Johansson, again, it's just the one-on-ones. If we could train him up on the one-on-ones and get him really, really working on it, then my word, his stats would really improve and he would look very, very good for us. Now, Hopkins, it's just decisions. We get Hopkins' decision-making up, which is... Oh, no. What am I doing there? I'm doing the wrong thing. Stop messing with that. Normal intensity. There we go. Currently resting. Okay, that's fine. Well, we'll call him back. That's fine. I don't need to worry about that. But he's all about decisions. Tactical positioning decisions. That's what we're going to do. Well, yeah, we'll give him a bit of praise. No worries. Okay, didn't actually work. But never mind. Those are the goalkeepers. Now, let's move on to the left-sided defenders. So this is the current squad that we have for the left-sided defenders. We tick it onto fullbacks. You can see. So what have we got? What have we got? What have we got? Work rate and stamina are the most important stats. That's why Brathwaite and Purcell are in this squad. Positioning is also quite an important one. These all have very nice positioning stats. Marking as well. I'm actually going to get rid of crossing because I don't really want them crossing it that much. I want them providing for the wingers more than anything. Marking and jumping reach, pretty good. Tackling, it would be an important one for Akeem Brathwaite. Get his tackling up. So let's go and ask him to do that. Now, where would it be? Strength? No. Defensive positioning? No. Defensive positioning comes with decisions. Final third, shooting, passing, crossing, ball control, endurance. No. Agility and balance. No. I mean, that's an odd one. I can't improve his tackling. Maybe I'm missing it again. 1 second. Let's have a look. Yeah, let's go through each individual one that we can look at. It's not going to be those, is it? No, it's not going to be those. Okay, quickness, pace, and acceleration. Well, it would be nice to get that acceleration up, but it is going up on its own at the minute, which is nice. Strength and jumping reach, agility, balance, endurance. Defensive positioning, marking positioning, ball and decisions, final third, composure and decisions. Vision, passing technique, crossing and technique. First touch, dribbling and technique. Doesn't look like I can get him to focus on his training, which is an interesting one. He wants me to yeah, okay, so he wants me to does not dive into tackles is what we're working on. I mean, but is that no, that's not really what we're after. I'm after improving his tackling. Very interesting one. It's a very interesting one. How can I not improve my defender's tackling? That seems like a bit of an odd one, no? Maybe I am missing something. I don't know. Positioning decisions. Maybe his tackling stat will improve when we without conceding fouls. Maybe his tackling stat will improve when the other stats improve. I'm not quite sure. Anyway, back to it. So Brandon Purcell's actually got very nice stats across the board. Acceleration isn't great. Passing isn't great. Composure is great, however. That's very nice. Okay, so if I can't improve a Brathwaite's tackling, I'm going to try and improve his composure instead. Which actually I might already be doing. No, I'm doing decisions. Composure's up 4, so it's probably a little bit better to do that. So again, it just doesn't look like I can. Because that must be a stat that develops in its own way, I suppose. Interesting. Training is pretty good, though. Brathwaite's doing really, really well. And now, stamina would definitely be the one to get working on for Jimmy Maloney. So let's go and focus on that for now. Attributes, endurance. There we go. And that'll improve his work rate and hopefully improve his stamina as well. Performed okay. Okay, trying to do my best to get the players to react positively. They don't always seem to do that. Alrighty, righty. Okay, so that's the left backs done. You see, across the board, Purcell is a very good player. Brathwaite is also a very good player despite the tackling. And Maloney is also a pretty good player. If Purcell was willing to if he was able to get that familiarity up with that position, I'd be very, very happy about it. The problem is that his pace and acceleration isn't great, so he might get kind of beaten a few times, which means that we'll probably drop him on to defend just a little bit more, maybe, or put him onto like no nonsense or something, just so that he's not caught out of position as much. Okay, now let's focus up on the right-sided players. So we have 4 in here, one of which is a potential signing if his stats look good, which they look okay at the minute. The physical stats aren't great, and we would like to see what his composure looks like. But look at that, all of them have bad composure, not the best. Now, work rate and stamina look very, very good across the board. Tackling, not the best, but that's why Aaron Hart is in there, because he's got very nice stats across the board, whereas Hakeem Brathwaite has a few that let him down, and Brennan Grigg also has a few that let him down. So let's focus his on positioning. Defensive positioning. That should be a good one. That should boost up that stat in particular, which I would be very, very nice with. Okay, and if that number does go up, we're going to kind of use this episode as a little bit of a comparison point for later episodes. And maybe halfway through the season, we'll do a little kind of comparison and see if the training has improved players. Now, Aaron Hart. Ooh, what should we improve for yourself? It looks like you could probably use a bit of an improvement on jumping reach. It's going to be a difficult one to do, but we'll put him. Oh, agility. Yeah, I'm going to put him onto some strength training, see if I can get the strength and jumping reach up. Probably a difficult one because he's a little bit older at 32, but we've got players who can slot in. If Levi Flint really does have the nice stats, I kind of mostly brought him in for the work rate and the decisions and the stamina, but he's got other stats that really do boost him up as well. Tackling up at 12 would be very nice if it does come in there. Same for marking, same for positioning. Anticipation, or I'd like it to be at the 9. If it's lower than that, we'll see. Okay, now on to the centre backs. We're 25 minutes in and we're not done yet. We've got one player who we're looking at bringing in. Again, jumping reach is out of this world, marking is out of this world, tackling is probably going to be quite high as well. Let's just see that. Yeah, look at that. I mean, it's between 13 and 19, so that's absolutely bonkers. I would also like to potentially see the strength on my centre backs, which should be in there. There it is. Okay, so Alex Tucky can play a centre back, but we're using him as a very kind of useful DM. His pace isn't that great, but his passing is okay. So I think that's why Alex Tucky is in there as our DM. He's got really, really good tackling, 10, anticipation, good. He's going to break up play quite a bit. Purcell obviously has got really good stats as well. He's playing on the left right now, which leaves the two centre-backs who are kind of out-and-out centre-backs for us there. But look at those stats. No reds in there at all. They're a bit low on the strength, but no reds. All we need to see is what Chibueze, what his numbers come out as. And now, obviously, these players who are in on trial, we won't get their stats for a little while, but they're all in on 4-week trial. So we'll have them for a long, long time. There's a chance we could maybe arrange a friendly if there is a gap in the schedule, which there usually is. We've got, this is August, we're looking at September. So there's our debut. This is where we are now. We've got this match and then another game, not very long between that at all. And then there's Camden. Then it's a week gap, and then another game against Bermondsey, and then again. And you've got a week gap, a week gap. So there actually isn't that many weeks so far. There's the first opportunity for a friendly, which is actually all the way in October, and we're at the end of August. So we won't actually get that much of a chance. We might have to play a friendly and like kind of throw the youth players out and then see how these guys do. The guys who are in on trial. Take a look at this. Purcell. Never be more than accomplished. Okay, that actually makes sense. That actually makes sense. Does it though? I don't know, because maybe training him at that left back will help with the tactics. That's what I'm thinking. Does it help with the tactics? And playing him on a fullback on support. Because it just hopefully just means that he gets used to playing in that position a little bit more. You know, like, I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, so that is the centre-backs. It's actually a rather simple one. The best players we have are these guys. And then under 18s, we've got a lot of players who can potentially make the step up. A lot of them have good jumping reach. A lot of them have good tackling. In fact, they've got really, really good stats, except for Marley Brooks there, who's got bad anticipation. So go into the training. We'll try and fix that one up. So where would that be? That would be in defensive positioning or no? Attacking movement. I'm going to move it on to defensive positioning and get these stats up instead. Because he's actually, look, he's regressing quite severely, which is not great. He's only just joined in, to be fair to him. I think the thing is about anticipation is that I've read that it's an important stat for everyone across the board. But it's actually also used more as an attacking stat or something like that. That's why final third movement is in there, which is an odd one. Concentration is also a very important stat. So we have to kind of remember that as well. That's why we've got Aaron Carlisle in there, high concentration. Brennan Grigg, a little bit low on the concentration, which is actually why we ended up getting rid of certain players last couple of seasons. That's also why he's not the chosen right back at this moment in time, and it instead falls to Hart. I think has a slightly better, yeah, look at that, 11. I can back up my own decision making. There we go. Let's move to the defensive midfielders. Of course, like I said, the number one player is Alex Tucky at the minute. He's got very nice stats across the board in the centre-back position, and he has very nice stats across the board as a DM as well. The only thing that's kind of a little bit weak about him is his first touch and his flair. Not the best on those ones. But let's try and get him training those up. Let's get him training those up. So that will be in ball control. First touch dribbling technique. Yeah, there we go. Hopefully those numbers will boost up and he'll just turn into an even more well-rounded player for us. We're using him as an anchor. But now he's just a defender making short passes and getting in the opposition's face. He could even potentially move centrally, and that would allow Olafsson to maybe move up with Howard a little bit like that. But for now, it's not really the plan. It might become the plan. We might tweak the tactic and just make him a central anchor where he just runs around trying to destroy players in the midfield. But because he does have the strength for it at 11, the strength is pretty good. But yeah, that's kind of why he's in there for now. Other players, of course, that we're potentially looking at bringing in might have stats that improve them as well. You know, they might be in there for really good reasons. I mean, look, that first touch is very nice. The flair doesn't matter so much. The vision doesn't matter so much. The tackling is going to be good for Townsend, as is the strength as well. So we just got to see what these players kind of end up bringing to the table. We've also got Darren Malone down there as well, where his strength is going to be a bit lower, but it's okay. It's not the worst thing. In there for DMs, that is Alex Tucky. We don't really have a backup that plays the exact same way as him, so maybe one of these players on trial would be a good addition. We'll see. We'll look at their stats once they are fully loaded. Next up will be to kind of look at the left-hand side of that back trio, midfield trio, the back two. Ball-winning midfielder. Now, why is he a ball-winning midfielder? He's got to be able to put in good tackles. He has decent tackling. Where is it? Oh, it's actually at 5. It's not the best. Ball-winning midfielder. What was he at then? Was it Williams who had the better tackling? No. Okay, so where are the midfielders with the good tackling stats? Tucky is in there with the best. The rest are actually not that great. So playing him as a ball-winning midfielder probably isn't the best idea. Interesting. I think he might have to move into deep lying playmaker, which is actually that what he's playing as in. Yes, he's playing that as there. I might have to move him actually onto this instead, because the tackling isn't that great. However, the passing is. Passing is really good. 13, good vision at 8. Flair's pretty good as well. Anticipation's not great, but that's decisions is also pretty good. Don't forget, we've also got Samir Nabi, who might be able to drop in and play here as well. I think maybe we need a second player like Alex Tucky, so that if we are losing the battle for possession, we're kind of not breaking up as many attacks as I would like us to be. We could bring in a second DM who has good tackling, good strength. I mean, Chibueze might be the player to do that. I'd really like to know what his stats end up looking like. But yeah, we won't be able to get to that just yet. So that's one thing that I'm going to actually make a note of with the old trusty notepad. Is that I think we need a second DM who is going to be able to break up attacks with good strength and good tackling. I think that'd be quite useful. In fact, let's go and have a look at that now and see what there is out there in the scouting network, because we do have like quite a few players who we can look at. So we'll go players in range. Interested in transfer, just go on unsure, like maybe they are. Composure and finishing, we'll change that. We'll pick instead tackling and strength is between 15 and 20. There won't be that many. Edit that search. And then we'll start lowering these numbers now. The first player is going to be Alex Tucky, I imagine. Oh, it's not. Look at that. It's Ersan Muanda. Age 34. Good marking, good tackling, good positioning, teamwork, vision, and work rate. Great determination, concentration. Got very nice numbers, doesn't he? He really does. He's very nice numbers. You know what? We're going to have a look. This can be a signing made on this episode 1. You know what? Yes, we'll give you the money you were after. Ivorian Les Elephants. Nice. Don't think he's got any caps or anything like that. No, he doesn't. But 34 years of age. Very nice stats across the board. He's not got the best first touch, but his defensive stats look really good. I mean, he could easily play as an anchor as well. Wouldn't be the worst idea, would it? Wouldn't be the worst idea. What is Alex Tucky's first touch? It's also at 5. So, I mean, you could just have 2 anchors in there at the back, or, you know, just a regular DM, and we're just trying to absolutely stop all attacks that are coming our way. We'll have to see, because we don't want to just go about things as just a defensive team. We still want to try and attack where we can, you know, left and right, just a little bit. Don't want to always be a team just trying to stop the other team. We want to create as well. Right, okay, that is the DMs done now, and the centre mids actually. So let's go into that and show you the other options that we have at centre mid. So the next position on the left-hand side of that trio is usually a bit more of a passing position as well when we go attacking. So for that, I'm kind of looking at good passers. So Olafsson does have really good passing stats and good first touch as well. He's not that bad. He's down at 8, which isn't that bad at all. James Dove, look at his numbers. He could easily come in and really surprise us with his numbers. And we'll have to see what his decisions comes out looking like though as well. That's why we've got John Howard in there, and we've got Samir Nabi, who is definitely needs to be in there as well. But it might be one of those things where, you know what, let's see what this looks like. Let's see what this looks like. So take for your risk, we'll get rid of that for Howard. His tackling stat is, it's at 4. That's what I mean. It's not great. Really not great. Go back to Plan A balance. Click that one up again. We're going to play him as a Segunda Volante. It's an interesting one. It's an interesting one. I'm going to hit save on that for Olafsson. I think he's actually been playing relatively well for us, but that tackling stat is really not that great. Really isn't. It's a bit of a letdown, but that's part of building the squad, you know. Tucky is in there as a really good player, so if we do end up just saying, okay, this is what we're going to do, Tucky moves in there, Olafsson moves forward. In fact, he'll probably be on the left, and Howard moves in there, and we play like that, we'll give it a go. We'll give it a go. If that's what ends up happening, that's what ends up happening. We'll just have to see what we end up doing after we've played a couple of games. I have played a couple of friendlies, of course. You can see the results here are very up and down. A 1-0 loss, a 1-0 win, a 1-1, a 0-0, and a 2-2, and a 0-0, and a 2-0, and then a couple of wins, and then also a couple of losses. But these early losses were kind of absolutely dominant. You can see that we were conceding goals left and right, so that's when I changed the tactic here. We went with our current tactic, and we're far more likely to win or draw games now than we were before. And even then, this Elmstead game, it was literally like 83rd minute. They scored, I don't even know, I think it was on a counter or something like that. It wasn't a very, like, exciting game. They dominated possession, but yeah, it is what it is. Now, on to the wingers. Attacking midfielders, left and right. In fact, I should probably show you central first. So in terms of attacking midfielders in the central positions, we want players with good passing, good flair. Olafsson leads the way on both. Good first touch, however, is Howard. Samir Nabi is also up there as well. So we've got a really, really good selection in the middle of the park when it comes to passers. I feel like we've got a good number of players who are good passing players, which is, well, I'm happy about it. I am happy about it. It doesn't mean I've got a good selection. I kind of bounce around certain players and see who sticks and stuff like that. In fact, I don't think Darren Racine is going to be useful for us because we've got so many players already. You've got Abbott who can step in, probably won't, but you've got these 4. Basically, you've got Olafsson, Nabi, Howard, and Williams who can all play either as a midfield centre or potentially as a cam as well. You've got these guys who play in all of those positions and DM, and you've got Nabi and Williams who are a little bit further back, but it's good to have that little variation. Darren, I don't think really going to be breaking into that lineup, considering his stats actually aren't better than Olafsson in those in those particular stats of passing and flair. So yeah, that is that. Let's look at the left-hand side now. Left-hand side, we've got quite a selection on the left-hand side. The first thing I'm going to do, oh, wrong one, go back here, is go to wingers. So, John Howard can play on the left, but he's not got the pace to do so. Acceleration, Embleton, absolutely rapid, 14. Mark Grant, who we're actually looking at bringing in, has 13, 14, 13 agility, but his dribbling is really not great. So what I would do for him, I would literally just be like, work on your dribbling. Just get your dribbling stat up, because then if he could do that and match his stats with everything else, he's going to get so many chances because he's so quick and his acceleration is so good. It's the same as Cameron Thompson, who we used so many times to just burn past players. His dribbling stat also isn't good enough. Dude, that's what I'm going to train on him as well. He's working on passing right now, but I'd much rather he was working on ball control, improving that, and his first touch. He's got good physical stats. When you find a player that has good across the board, that's when you know you found a gem. So yeah, this is our left-hand side players at the minute. You've got Grant, who we're going to bring in, I think, hopefully. Thompson, who can play on the left, but he's actually a sub because of his pace. We bring him on as a super sub. We've got Ben Scott, who covers the entire front kind of attacking midfield selection there. You can see AMRLC covers that entire selection there. That's why he's on the bench. You've got Embleton with really, really nice stats across the board, except for first touch. Be worth training him on that one as well. Ball control. Oh, we already are. There we go. Good stuff. And then you've got John Howard as well. You've got Spanudakis with really, really good stats. I mean, look at that. Ball control is really good. Dribbling is really good. Technique, really good as well. He's a very well-rounded player. I think I'd probably train him up on his first touch as well. Development training. Ball control. And that would get his dribbling and first touch up. Attempts overhead kicks. What? Why are we training that? Why are we training that? Let's get him training on passing. Okay, cool. He's going to play simple passes. That's nice. I don't mind that at all. Looks like he's making good progress. Don't worry about lack of anything. All right, that's the left-hand side. Now we'll look to the right-hand side. A lot of the same players appear, of course. Andrew Royal is another player who appears, but however, look at those. That flair and technique is really low. His agility, pace, and acceleration, and balance, and dribbling, really, really good. So that's why he's in the team as well. And again, I'm going to focus him on his dribbling. I want these guys to be quite good on the ball to go with their pace. So Andrew Royal is another player who will just kind of swap in. We'll rotate with Abbott because Abbott is got good stats, quite good stats across the board. Royal has really good pace. You've got Papazius as well, who we brought in as a striker but can play on the right-hand side. And you've also got, sorry, where is he? Yeah, there he is, Ben Scott. You've got players that can play on the right-hand side. We've got a good selection here. I'll be able to rotate pretty regularly with them, which is nice. I don't want to have to just be like, oh, we're tired for this game. There are definitely games last season that we lost simply because we were tired. Like 100%. That it's just 100%. That is what happened. Now, looking at the strikers in particular. Let's change that stat to strikers. Off the board is the most important stat, I've been told. Christopher Harris is back. We brought him back. He left for Louth Old Boys, played 3 games at a rating of 6.7. We have brought him back to the London Greens for another season. Only played 9 games for us since he was here, but he's clearly a good player. I mean, look at this. He was up in the Ishmin leagues doing damage, scoring goals. He scored 117 goals in his career. Only 4 of them for us. We're going to change that this season. I think Christopher Harris is going to be really, really good for us. Wes Hennessy, another really good player. Harris and Hennessy are more or less interchangeable. The only thing about them that is a little bit of a letdown is the fact that their pace isn't that great. So let's go to Wes Hennessy and try and get his pace up. That's already what we're doing. Look at that. I'm already training it. Trying to get his pace up a little bit. Now, off the ball, we've got Callum McHale. I think his stats are going to make him scary good. If we could actually get him in. I mean, I'm not even going to risk it. I'm going to offer him a contract right now. He wants to be an important player. We'll make him a squad player because I don't really want to give out important players anymore. Oh my word, we are never going to be able to afford him. We're going to have to give him big bonus money here. Still wants 300. Okay. We might just have to throw all of the money at him. Still wants more money. Can't do it, lad. I just can't do it, unfortunately. I just can't afford it. I want to offer that. I want to offer him the money. But they won't let me. Oh, it would be very nice to have him in, wouldn't it? Look at those numbers. I mean, he doesn't even. Oh, it's actually it's very annoying. He's asked me to make a. The thing is, though, I've actually got the finances to give him what he wants. So it's really frustrating that the board actually won't let me It's asked for an increase in the wage budget. I really don't think they're going to want to, but his stats look scary. His stats look absolutely scary. I mean, he's off the ball through the roof. Determination, composure, first touch through the roof. Acceleration, really, really good. Pace, also really, really good. His finishing also looks incredible. Star player in his prime years, and I can't bring him in. They won't let me bring him in, and I really, really think it would be awesome if we could bring him in. So he's going to go on the shortlist. Shortlist is a bit of a mess right now, but what I'm going to do is quickly clean it up a bit. Actually, no, not yourself, because we are looking to bring you in. Players who are under bid. We aren't bidding for you, are we? No, we're not. Okay, fine. Remove those players. So we've got Mark Grant, Callum McHale, and Ersen Muanda, who we're looking to bring in as another defensive midfielder. It would be I mean, his stats, I think he genuinely would score so many goals for us. His stats really would be good for us. And Mark Grant on the left-hand side with very, very good stats as well. And nice technique. The passing's a bit low. It is. But he's got such good stats, such good physicals. It would be good to have him as well. Again, it would be another option on the left to just rotate pacey players. But yeah, there we go. That is that. That is that, guys. You can see my thinking. I hope you can see my decision-making on these players. We'll see how it goes the first couple of games. What I'm going to do is I'm really not going to try and I'm going to try and not change things up too much in the games. Like we will watch the games and try and win the games and make decisions that help us win. But I'm going to stick to this tactic. I feel like so many times I've just had knee-jerk reactions where I'm like, oh, this didn't work this one time. Stop doing that. We're never going to do that again. That's not how it works. We've got to work a little bit kind of more. We've got to be a bit more flexible. That's all I've got to say. And that is exactly why the team fluidity is now flexible. So I've absolutely just talked at you for 47 minutes or so. I hope it was at least somewhat enjoyable. I've given you a little bit more information as to my thinking behind this save. And yeah, I'm not giving up. I said at the end of last season, I'm not giving up. And I really do mean that. I'm not giving up. This game, it's so fun. And it's so, it draws you in. It's so addictive that you want to keep playing and you want to keep problem solving. That's all this game is. It's a problem solving game. With the players that you have, with the attributes that they have, can you solve the problem of 90 minutes and go out and get a win? And we're going to hopefully see some improvements to our results this season. And we're going to go for that promotion fight. We really are. Last season, we started very, very well. This season, I hope to do that again and then follow it up with a much better middle season and end season. We shall see. Thank you for watching, guys. I shall catch you next time.